Hey, it's Mark and Paul again. We're on the way to get a new build, and I am actually driving for the first time I think ever on any of our videos because I just want to prove I can do it. You guys have never seen me drive, and I'm not letting Paul drive. He's just here for his quick wit and company. So anyway, we are going to pick up something we've never bought before. It is not a car. That's all I'm going to tell you at this point. So I have no experience with these at all, so we'll see if hopefully I did not get burned. Here we have it. This is a Can-Am 1000R Turbo. What do you think, Paul? Was it too bad to buy or not?
Don't look it to me.
So we've got this issue right here, which is usually nothing on this thing, just like a car there. Box shocks. Some broken plastics and stuff around, like here. A lot of this got tape all over. I think they were trying to tape plastic and stuff on the sides to keep stuff from blowing in when they were. It's got like the zippered sides, so we'll have to get all that stuff off before we drive a couple hours on the highway. But just a lot of stuff taped. So hopefully all this plastic stuff is available, easy to get. And this is a non-runner, so I have no idea why it's a non-runner. Tires are in good shape. So we'll just have to see.
She was so beautiful. Her presence in my life has escaped me. And then there was another. Until she was gone. A lifetime of loves. A lifetime of loss. The Rebuild It playlist on YouTube. Relive the memories.
All right, so it is the next day. It got kind of dark on us last night, and I found out a little more about this thing. It is a Can-Am XDS DPS, which the DPS just stands for power steering. So that big box we saw, I don't know if I showed it to you last night or not, but that's what that is. That big box right there is power steering. But when we started looking around this thing, inside the cab there and the floorboard, we saw bad things and put them in the back of the truck. So we have the primary and secondary clutches, which is going to be an expensive fix. So no drive belt. I have no idea what could have happened to the clutches to cause this kind of damage. I mean, that is like melted. Anyway, somebody did part of the hard part is getting it off. I've seen some videos and stuff already about how hard it is to get this off, so at least it's off. Then we've got all sorts of, like, this is the cover for it. There's some springs. I just have to figure out what all this is, man. But most of the plastics, looks like the plastics are here. There's a battery with a broken tab. So not good shape. And here's all the stuff I just put in the back of the truck. It's like there's a plastic, some kind of air intake or something. There's a plastic part that goes over the shifter and all that. There's the hood is actually in there. So I think the first step is just to get this thing back around back, and the exhaust is gone on it. So I gotta find exhaust. I'm sure somebody had aftermarket exhaust on there and just took it off. Either stole it at the auction or took it off before they took it to the auction. I know the bumper is aftermarket. These guards are aftermarket right here. But here's our first damage. This is looks like the upper control arm is just, you know, destroyed, which won't be a big deal. It's just finding one. But somehow I got to get it off the trailer like that. So I don't know if I just take it off and kind of bend it back enough and weld that to get it off. Lots of broken plastic pieces. Not sure. I guess that is stock. The intercooler back there. I just don't know anything about these things, so it's really dirty. The seats are disgusting, which they should clean up. I don't see like rips in them or anything. Got some kind of aftermarket, I guess those are aftermarket speakers. So that's where the clutches go, right down in that thing. So we'll get the seats out and see what's down there. And this thing should start without the clutches in there. That has no, you know, has no bearing on the motor running, so I'm not sure why it's a non-runner. The first step is to get it back there and get all this trash out of it, clean it up a little bit. I like to just power wash this thing and then get some power to it, try to figure out if it at least turns over or what the deal is with it. Okay, I'm starting to find out a little bit of information about this thing. I got the seat out and this plastic. That seat just comes right out really easy. And found a whole bunch of fasteners. And this looks like the tool that they bought to get that clutch off. So that's good. I wish that tool was still in here. So there's where the battery is supposed to go. So that battery I found with the broken tab does go to this. You know, there's all sorts of wires hanging down, like just, I think they might have been to aftermarket, like light bars and stuff like that, because I see like that looks aftermarket to me right here. And there's wires going to it. I'm sure that's not stock, but I'd like to just get rid of all that junk, you know, just to make sure it doesn't mess with any of our electric stuff. But there's where our clutches go. The shafts need to be cleaned up, and then we'll just figure out how all that goes back together once I get a new clutch ordered. But it would have been nice to have ever seen one of these in person before I bought one. Next, I'm going to get some power hooked to that, and we'll get a key in there and see what we got, see if it cranks over. All right, so I've got some power hooked to it. Just with one of my Solstice batteries that I happen to have a lot of. And I think I found out why they might have wrecked it. So anyway, let's see what we have here. We put power to the gauges. 2,997 miles. Let's see what it does when I hit the start button. Well, that was awesome. Always good when these things start up when you buy them as a non-runner. So not sure why it was, you know, called a non-runner other than the fact there's no battery. And I don't know if they'll start in neutral, but it was in neutral when I got it. Sometimes it might need to be in park to start. I don't know. But anyway, once I got enough power to it, it started right up. So that's awesome. So now we got to just concentrate on getting this control arm ordered enough to, or get one ordered for sure, but I need to try to figure out some way to get it off the trailer. It won't drive under its own power, obviously, without a clutch. Let's just keep cleaning it up and see about doing something with that control arm. Okay, so a little more damage than I thought, like normal. So we've got this lower control arm, which we knew about, broken. And we've got a piece of metal coming through our axle shaft here, so I'm sure that joint was destroyed in there. So we'll need this axle shaft and this lower control arm. Looks like everything else. And I'm not sure if the lower control arm comes with a ball joint or not, but we should probably order one of those. I don't see anything else that is damaged here. We'll go ahead and get that stuff ordered. All right, so I went ahead and got all this stuff right here ordered. So it should be on its way in a week or so. And then I can at least roll it around. I did not order the clutch yet because, man, that looks like a can of worms as far as figuring out exactly what you need. And there's a bunch of aftermarket ones. I don't know which one I want. There's some that work on turbos and some that don't. It depends depends on the size spring you get on there. Depends on your wheel size. There's just a whole lot of other stuff. So I need to research that some more. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pop this little ductwork there off, and I'm going to cover each of these shafts with some plastic so that I don't get water up in these threads. And I'm gonna start power washing this thing. I'll show you one thing before I finish cleaning these, but look at how disgusting these seats are. Ooh. And this is one I just sprayed down once and cleaned with some mean green cleaner. And they really clean up good, so keep doing that, and then we'll start spraying out all the mud on the Can-Am. All right, so I have washed this thing. And I've got most of the mud and crud out of it, I think. The more you wash from one area, the more it blows it into another. I noticed this Copart tag. It was left there at Copart in March of 21. And this is mid-January of 22, so it's been there quite a while, 9 months or whatever. So 10 months, so it's been sitting quite a while. So I'm really shocked that it started that easy. So anyway, I guess the next step is just to wait on parts, because I can't really do anything else until I can get it off the trailer. Can't do that until I get some parts there. So we'll catch you in a week or so. Well, I've done a little bit of research since the last time we spoke and figured out that, okay, yes, this is the primary clutch, this is the secondary clutch. They go like this in the Can-Am. And there's a drive belt that goes around, a really thick drive belt. My apologies to you guys that are Can-Am owners and know all this stuff about. This is actually the transmission of the vehicle. It's all belt driven. There's no gears or anything like that. So what I think happened, maybe. Remember we found this package in the floorboard, which is a Gates primary puller. So somebody was trying to get this clutch, the primary clutch, off. My question is, okay, on the insurance where it was wrecked, it says that the cause of the insurance claim was collision. Well, we saw the damage on the vehicle on the front suspension. So you can't drive it with no clutch. So how did it wreck without the clutch? I have no idea what happened in that. You guys comment down below if any of your suspicions about what's going on with that. Maybe they were trying to change the clutch and loaded it on a trailer and then had the wreck with it on the trailer. Who knows? But anyway, so this puller, they were trying to pull this off, and it looks like right here we have the bottom end of that puller. So if you shine a light up inside the hole here, you see that the puller is broke in half. It's just a big long bolt that you use to screw in there, and it pushes the clutch off of the back of the shaft that's on the vehicle. So okay, so what I want to try to do is figure out how I need to proceed as far as replacing this clutch. Do I take this apart, see if I can get this broken puller out of the back, and see if there's any of this salvageable, because these clutches are super expensive if you can even find one. The ones that I've been trying to find, everything says non-turbo, and so you can order little different pieces of this thing right from Can-Am for turbo. But I mean, you're talking a clutch is, a decent clutch is $1,000. And so I guess the next step would be to try to get this fan off and see how much more of this we can pull apart, because I know the fan's ruined. I don't know if they were trying to weld something on the end of this puller or heat something up when they were trying to get this off, whatever they did to ruin this. And then this piece that's underneath it is ruined, but then all this under here is okay. The only thing I kind of worry about, if you can see on this side of the pulley in here, it is rusty, and this stuff has to be like completely slick and super smooth, or it just chews up belts. On the secondary clutch, this comes apart, and then there's a spring, and this is what's left of the springs of the spring. It was one spring, and I mean, it's just all torn to pieces. So this helix goes up against the motor like that, and then the spring, and then it works in and out of this. See these little things here for this 3 parts go up inside that. It sounds a little bit rough, so I probably need to replace that. So the next step is just dig into this, see if I can get it apart, and see if I can get that puller out, and just try to figure out what's going on with this thing. Okay, so there's what it looks like without the fan. I guess it's just the fan. You can see where it got so hot underneath. This is definitely ruined too. So the next step, I think, is to flip it over and try to get that puller out, because that might be what's holding all this thing together. All right, so after doing some research, what I've figured out is I think I'm going to go ahead and order this whole assembly. There's actually one on eBay right now, the whole assembly off of a turbo Maverick for like $830 some odd. I hate to spend that, but then I know everything is good on it, because the vehicle that it came off of on eBay only had like 400 miles on it. And the reason I'm not going with an aftermarket clutch, the original OEM clutches were kind of made as like a general clutch for all purposes. So it's good at everything, but it's not great at anything. So it depends on, like, if you were a guy out in the sand dunes, you would want a specific kind of clutch. If you were a person doing mudding all the time, you'd want a specific kind of clutch. There's just all different kinds of clutches for different applications. And this one is kind of just a generic all-purpose. So I'm going to go back with that, and I'll get that ordered, and then also I'll start trying to figure out if we think this secondary clutch is okay. Thanks guys for watching this week's episode of Rebuild It. Let us know what you think of this new type of build. Are you interested in any kind of side-by-sides or off-road type stuff like this? It's a whole new learning experience for me, because I've never even driven one of those things before, so it should be interesting. I like learning new stuff, so if you thought this was interesting, give us a thumbs up below, and make sure you put some comments down below so we'll know what direction to go with this thing. So we'll see you next week.
And always remember, don't retire it if you can rebuild it. Thanks so much guys for tuning in and watching this week's episode of Rebuild It. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any awesome content. Have a good one.